Prime Minister al-Halqi issued a decision to form a committee under his leadership and the membership of Deputy Prime Minister for Economic Affairs, Ministers of Transportation, Information, Industry and Justice, and the State Ministers for National Reconciliation, the Arab Red Crescent and the People's Assembly to implement the duty of the current government concerning the political program to solve the crisis and to make intensive communication with the national opposition and parties, political forces and the civil society's bodies, including the social, religious and economic bodies, in preparation to start an open dialogue before the Comprehensive National Dialogue Conference. The People's Assembly stressed its full support of the political program to find a solution for the crisis in Syria on the basis of Syria's sovereignty derived from the will and conscience of the Syrian citizens. Mr. Omar Ossi, chairman of the Committee of National Reconciliation, asserted that this would be the only viable way out of the crisis and to achieve the ambitions of the Syrian citizens in a more democratic stage, embracing the rights of the citizens. The People's Assembly called upon all the national political forces in Syria and in the opposition to join the national dialogue and to make positive contributions to the formulation of Syria's future, away from any selfish and narrow trends, and relying on Syria's glorious history of our forefathers who fought against the Ottoman and Turkish imperialists. Everybody should work to get out of the crisis and to score victory against the enemies of our beloved homeland, Syria. Syria's future should be based on the rule of law and full equality among citizens, in addition to combating corruption and developing the government's departments. The communiqué concluded by asserting that those who reject national dialogue would be responsible for the continuing bleeding of the country, damaging its structure, status, and vanguard role. The Minister of Education, Dr. Hazwan Al-Was, toured some schools in Damascus to follow up the examination process. He asserted that the development of the educational curricula continued ahead. The minister listened to teachers and students about their opinion of the new curricula and whether they supplied their needs. A unit of our armed forces foiled an attempt by terrorists to detonate two booby-trapped cars near Namir Bridge in Daraa countryside. Our valiant armed forces targeted the terrorist group, killing many of them and injuring others while destroying the cars before arriving to the bridge. In Egypt, unknown assailants attacked the protesters who camped in front of the presidential palace using burning bottles and live bullets, injuring 27 people. The attack also resulted in the burning of a number of protesters' tents, as tension and traffic congestion prevailed in the streets surrounding the presidential palace. In Tunisia, clashes erupted between protesters against the ruling Al-Nahda party and policemen in the city of Ben Qurdan, south of the country. Policemen used tear gas to disperse demonstrators who protested against the poor living conditions in the country. Bahrainis went out into the streets near the capital Al-Manama, protesting against sentences of prison issued against 13 opposition leaders. Demonstrators, who crowded amidst heavy deployment of Bahraini security forces, chanted slogans condemning the sentences issued, stressing to continue their movement for the release of the detainees in the prisons of Al Khalifa.